नमस्कार, मैं अशोक व्यास। कार्यक्रम इनसाइट टुनाइट है और आज हम बात करने वाले हैं एक ऐसे भारत मित्र से जो कि कौंसल जनरल के रूप में न्यूयॉर्क में जब से आए हैं, तो उन्होंने एक ऐसी आत्मीयता विकसित की है सबके साथ कि उनके आने से भी एक अतिरिक्त आनंद आ जाता है। एंड द मंथ ऑफ ऑगस्ट ऑल्सो मेक्स अस वेरी हैप्पी। सो आई हैव द प्लेजर एंड ऑनर ऑफ वेलकमिंग कौंसल जनरल ऑफ इंडिया इन न्यूयॉर्क, रणधीर जायसवाल जी। नमस्ते, वेलकम।
Namaskar Ashok ji, it is always my pleasure and my delight to be in your studio to talk to you and to reach out to our community members.
So we have been looking forward to this conversation after the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and I still, when close my eyes and think about his address to the both houses of Congress here in America, and the way he was received and the warmth which was extended to Indian Prime Minister at the White House by the First Lady also, it makes us feel so happy. मुझे 56 इंच याद आ जाता है मुझे. But now going towards the nitty gritty in terms of once the visit is over and you start evaluating what did we gain, what did we give, etc. Your take on overall Indo-US relationship with respect to this visit.
So, we had a successful, shall I say, a historic visit of a Prime Minister to the United States. It was historic for many reasons. Some of the reasons people know here, but I would like to highlight why it is historic otherwise as well, beyond the reasons why people think it was historic. He addressed the joint session of the US Congress. He is the only third leader in the world to have addressed the US Congress the second time. There are two others, Winston Churchill, I am told, and President Mandela earlier. Also, it was for the first time that so many people, 8,000 plus members of the Indian American community were invited by the White House to join and see and witness the ceremonial reception. That itself was a historic occasion. It is also reflective of the success of the Indian diaspora, what you are doing, what our people here are doing in terms of contributing to the host society. So this is a recognition as much to your success and other endeavors. But beyond these things, President Biden hosted a state dinner. He spent time with Prime Minister Modi on all the days that he was there in Washington.
Yes.
All 3 days. They had an informal engagement dinner at the White House, then a state dinner, and thereafter they also spent time on several other occasions. We had several other programs beyond the talks, official talks. We had engagement at the business level. We had engagement at the level of the diaspora. We had the technology handshake which was hosted in the White House. We had a skills program where Prime Minister and the First Lady together, they were there to address this program on skills partnership between India and the United States. But if you look at the sum and substance as to what came out of the visit, it is very heavy as far as defense cooperation between the two countries is concerned, and it is also very significant and meaningful as far as technology partnership between the two countries is concerned. On the defense side, we have over the last 30 years or so been trying to engage the United States for transfer of technology and manufacturing of GE engines, jet engines in India. Finally, it has happened after so many decades, I would say. This will be a huge boost to our defense capability. GE, General Electric from the United States, in partnership with HAL in India, will be manufacturing these jet engines, which will form part of our LCA aircraft, and we are looking forward with a lot of expectation that this will add major boost to our defense capability.
So allow me to interrupt and let me seek your input from the generic perception with regard to the successful visit relates to the current geopolitical situation, where they say that it is natural for America to look towards India because it wants to contain China's expansion policies, and there is no other potential strong ally that America can look forward to. So that way they try to undermine the strength that is what we refer to as India at the moment. So how do you see these? Of course, a lot of factors align and make something happen. But let's look at it from the strength that India is offering on the global platform at this moment.
So, we are the fifth largest economy in the world. In a couple of years from now, we'll become the third largest economy in the world. We have a country with the largest population in the world, 1.4 billion people. We are a country where 26% of our population, 50% of our population is below the age of 26 or thereabout. We have a population, we are a country where almost 1 billion people are there on the digital infrastructure connected to Aadhaar and several other digital public infrastructure. All these put together and the kind of skill, kind of talent we have a huge punch as far as global geoeconomics and global geopolitics is concerned. We have a lot to offer to the world in terms of providing global stability, in terms of firing on all engines as far as economic growth is concerned, and on digital, on how do we contribute to the strengthening of digital age, which means contributing to the world at large. You would have heard Prime Minister Modi speaking in the joint session of the US Congress. He said that 46% of all digital payments in the world are currently on real-time basis is being made in India. So that is the kind of expansion that we see in India in the domain of digital economy. All these things are bringing us together, bringing United States and India together. India and the United States today have very strong salience to take the relationship forward, be it knowledge partnership, health partnership, space program, technology partnership, AI, advanced computing, semiconductor partnership. We've signed an MOU on semiconductor partnership and innovation partnership. And we have now Micron Technology, one of the leading companies in the United States. They will be setting up a facility in India for assembly and testing of semiconductors. In addition to Micron Technologies, we have Lam Research will be setting up several other capacities in India, and then Applied Materials. So a lot is happening in the semiconductor space. In the space cooperation, today is a good day to talk about space because Chandrayaan-3 today has left the Earth's orbit and is moving towards the moon. We have several agreements in place. We have India in record time has joined Artemis Accord, which will allow us to contribute to exploration of outer space for the greater good of humankind. United States is a lead player there. United States and India together are doing several other things. We'll be jointly sending into the space a radar which is called NISAR. It is a synthetic aperture radar, joint production between NASA and ISRO, that will be put in space next year. We are also working together for collaboration for human space flight as also for international space station. So a lot of things happening in the space arena. You would have seen the kind of stories coming out from the private sector in India. Skyroot, a company in India, private company, they had sent into the space a rocket recently. So huge opportunities. Earlier, ISRO was interacting with NASA, government to government, but now we have, as a policy, we opened our space sector that brings in huge energy in a private on the private side as far as India is concerned.
Yeah. So allow me to just interrupt and also recollect with you that many CEOs, after interacting with Prime Minister Modi, while they shared their impressions, they were also very positive and excited, I would say, including Elon Musk saying that he's a fan of Prime Minister Modi or something like that. I bring the name of Elon Musk also with the reference of space technology, plus he's someone with far-sighted view of the way future world is likely to be. And he was very much into artificial intelligence and chat GPT, initial guys who founded that company. But now where we are with respect to artificial intelligence, and America also called on major tech companies to see that it doesn't behave in a fashion which may be disruptive for the functioning of a nation, that is applicable for India also. So based on what you know, how Indian government's approach is, or something in the pipeline with reference to streamlining. First, we are still grappling with how to put a sort of a structure for the social media expression, and then this artificial intelligence, where it will be difficult for you, whether it is Randhir ji talking or somebody else talking. So it's going to be a very difficult scenario.
So, as far as artificial intelligence and other verticals of next generation technology is concerned, India and the United States, we have together come to found what is called Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies. There are several verticals in it, including AI, generative AI, biomanufacturing, and advanced computing, cloud computing, quantum partnership, etc. We are closely working as to how we can drive the artificial intelligence agenda of the world, so that we can, humanity at large can benefit from it. We are also talking about all these new and critical technologies in the Quad framework. How do we come up with guidelines and governance so that these technologies are best deployed for greater good of the public. As far as Elon Musk is concerned, we in New York, Prime Minister met some 30 leaders of various fields, influencers, Nobel laureates, including Mr. Elon Musk. We are looking at several new ideas and initiatives in India. Hopefully you will hear about them soon. Because of the changed global climate, India is offering itself as a viable destination on global supply chain. India is seen as a trusted partner. Today in global supply chain, it is important that you have efficiency, but along with efficiency, it's important that you have trust. And that is the trust that India brings to the table. When you talk to India, you're talking to a democracy. And when India and the United States are talking to each other, obviously there are two democracies, large democracies, talking to each other. There is very high trust in a conversation. That is what makes India-United States relationship so strong and so effective.
So talking about trust, and we will talk about the month of August and the celebrations that we have in the tri-state area also. But before that, as a layman or someone who is emotionally attached to the feeling called Bharat, feels good when you see the leader of India is received not only with warmth but with respect. And leaders of countries like America go towards him, have the kind of hug that you have not seen many times among friends also. But that is not restricted to the President of America. That is happening with President of France and several other countries. And he was recognized on his way back to India also at UAE. What I want you to share from your diplomat's viewpoint, does these things really have some substance in terms of the overall impact on India's relationship with XYZ country, or like some analysts don't see much gravy into that? Emotionally we feel elated. Your take?
So any relationship, whether it happens at the international level or it happens in a society, in a family, it's about people, correct? Now, what has come out of this visit, for example? People-to-people relations are very important. If your businesses are growing, if your technology partnerships are expanding, obviously people will move across geographies. How do you support that? In my understanding, this is the only visit of a head of government or a state across geography that I have seen in the last several decades, where a decision has been taken to establish 5 new consulates.
Yes.
So on the American side, you have, they have decided to open a consulate in Ahmedabad and a consulate in Bengaluru. On our side, we have decided to open a consulate in Seattle. Hopefully, the Seattle consulate from our side should be up and running sooner than later. But we also decided to open 2 new consulates, but that will happen at a later date. On the people's side, again, there is an understanding, and the United States is undertaking a review whereby the extension of several visa categories will now happen here instead of the person going to India or some other country to get his or her renewal. So a lot is happening on the people's side, and that is what makes the relationship so exciting. India-US partnership is, on the trade side, for example, is about $190 billion. Look at what the partnership was 10 years back. There's a sea jump, quantum jump. There were 6 trade disputes which have been, because of our political relations, 6 trade disputes which formed part of the WTO mechanism have been put aside. So there is eagerness on both sides to move forward and move forward at a very fast pace. So huge amounts of economics, technology, business, renewable energy partnership. I talked about 3 semiconductor companies or technology companies investing in India. This is a two-way relationship. We also have investments coming from India into the United States. VSK Energy will be investing $1.5 billion here in the United States for manufacturing of solar panels. Similarly, JSW will be investing its steel plant here, putting in more money in the state of Ohio. When you invest, obviously you create more jobs, you create more prosperity. So a lot is happening in terms of actual benefit that comes to people of the United States and people in India. Let me also take this opportunity to tell you the historic deal that we had in the civil aviation sector. We have agreed to buy 200 aircraft from Boeing.
Big.
That is going to create over a million jobs here in the United States across 44 states. It means huge. It is creating a new requirement. We were discussing with our friend as we were coming into the studio of 31,000 pilots in India. So you can imagine how much of work will happen between India and the United States as far as civil aviation cooperation on technology side, on skilling side, on other areas, other opportunities. So huge amount of value for both sides and people.
To add to what you are saying, today the news is Apple supplier Foxconn is also going to invest $1.2 billion in India. So a lot of positive developments there. And allow me to again get towards the human side of it. So while before his last leg of the visit, as he was addressing Indian Americans, and the way he announced the opening of these consulates, and so there was a very sort of informal approach, or I don't know how to put it. You feel as if the person from the podium is talking to you personally, and as if there is a sense of family feeling. So that sense of being of Indian origin adds to your self-esteem overall. Now, in the light of that spirit, this year when we come to the celebrations of 15th August, how do you see the mood here in Tri-State area?
Well, the mood is upbeat. We are about to celebrate or have the concluding functions of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. On 15th August, we'll have the flag hoisting ceremony at the consulate. We invite all our community members to join. In addition, we also have the flag hoisting at Times Square. We will have a separate flag hoisting at the Bowling Green where the Honorable Mayor will be present. And then on 20th, we have the India Day Parade and Madison Avenue. This time, I understand from the community organizations, Sri Ravi Shankar will be the Grand Marshal. So we invite, there are so many programs which await our community members. And then we have programs in Harrisburg, in Boston, in Buffalo. I'll be joining a parade, India Day Parade in Buffalo. So you can really see the Indian community expanding and the linkage between the homeland and motherland also showing itself in every which way here in the United States. Talking of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Prime Minister in his articulation in Washington talked about Amrit Kal. The next 25 years for India is very important. And I link the 25 years period with my own 25 years in the Foreign Service. When I joined the Foreign Service in 1998, our GDP was somewhere like $400 billion. Today we are $3.5 trillion, 2023. So in the space of 25 years, we've grown 9 folds. In the next 25 years, we'll be growing 9 folds or more with the kind of push reforms, focus that is there on bringing the best of technology, creating the best business value, creating an environment of reform and business incentives, giving a strong push to creating hard infrastructure, physical infrastructure, in digital infrastructure. We'll be going, our economy is poised to expand several folds. So you can do your math, 9 times $3.5 trillion or 10 times in the next 25 years. So forget that, look at all the reports that are coming out from various agencies. Next couple of years, India will be the 3rd largest economy, 1, 2, 3. Today, we are the 5th largest economy. A very interesting thing that Prime Minister pointed out in his Congress address was when he had last spoken at the US Congress in 2016, India was the 12th largest economy. And this time around, when 2023 is there, we are the 5th largest economy. So all these things matters. Look at the diaspora, the way they are doing. Look at Indian leadership of multinational companies. They all make us proud. Look at Indian in the higher education sector. So many of universities today are led by Indian Americans.
Absolutely.
We have the diaspora is making us proud, not just in the United States, but across the world. Look at world leaders today. You will get an answer from the Caribbean.
And you never know,
to
something
Europe.
like that you may see here with a very promising candidate from Indian origin in the Republic Party. But just recollecting, as you mentioned about your 25 years in service, it's a coincidence. I also joined ITV Gold in December 1998, so that makes it 25 years. Though we have not grown as India, India has grown. ITV Gold has comparatively limited growth to boast for. But what we love is the feeling of family and growing together. And in that context, especially coming from India, जब हम बात करते हैं संस्कृति की तो भाषा, भोजन और भेष, so these 3 things we talk about, which is the way you dress and the kind of food that you take, and of course language. So talking about food, Prime Minister Narendra Modi not only gave, I would say, the gift of the idea of celebrating International Day of Yoga, but I think he is also instrumental in making the whole world aware about millet, the importance of the food. So this is International Year of the Millet. And from that point of view, how do you see the response of people at large and the way the call of United Nations is being responded?
तो इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ मिलेट्स की बात करने से पहले एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ।
जी।
मेरे से बहुत लोग पूछते हैं कि भारत ने दुनिया के लिए क्या किया। हम लोगों का कहना है कि हम तो एक परिवार की तरह दुनिया को समझते हैं, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की बात। पिछले दशक और दशक से थोड़े ज़्यादा समय में आप देखेंगे हम दुनिया के पटल पे क्या लेके आए हैं। विश्व शांति के लिए इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ नॉन वायलेंस, जो महात्मा गांधी का जन्मदिन जिस दिन होता है 2 अक्टूबर, उस दिन यूनाइटेड नेशन के ज़रिए 21 जून को हम इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ योगा करते हैं, ये भी यूनाइटेड नेशन के ज़रिए ग्लोबल समुदाय को भेंट किया गया। और इस साल इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ मिलेट्स, ये 3 चीज़ें जो हमने दिया, ये हमारा दुनिया को मैसेज है। इंडिया टुडे स्टैंड्स फॉर ग्लोबल पीस, प्रॉस्पेरिटी एंड टू ब्रिंग lift not just one segment of society, but we want to do, we are seen as a force for global good.
Absolutely.
That is a message. As far as International Year of Millets is concerned, we are celebrating it in full style across the world and in India. Today you go here in New Jersey to stores, and not just to Indian stores, other stores in Manhattan, you see there are so many new products of millets, because millets adds value to our life. In India, we call it Shriyan or Mota Anaj. Millets are health wise, they are climate change wise. You can grow more millets with less water. So it is very effective one for climate change adaptation. It is very effective because it is very nutritious. It undermines obesity, it undermines hypertension, it helps to get over these problems, lifestyle diseases. It is a good source of several other attributes. So we have at the consulate, we've had regular programs on millets, and we look forward to the community coming together to promote International Year of Millets.
Absolutely. So when you talk about millets and the kind of mota, anaya, when you eat that, you feel light also. When you feel light, meaning you feel happy. So moving towards the happier world, when we look at the way India is offering its space to host G20 summit, very briefly, that is happening in September, and living up to his statement, Prime Minister Modi says, "मैं छोटा तो सोचता ही नहीं हूँ." So when you look at Bharat Mandapam, you feel again very proud of being from that nation. And talk to me about the upcoming summit and its likely impact for India.
So India is the current president of G20. We look forward to hosting world leaders, including all world leaders of G20 country and several others who have been invited. The summit meeting will happen in New Delhi on 9th and 10th. We have a new exhibition, a new venue, which is called Bharat Mandapam. It was inaugurated by Prime Minister recently at Pragati Maidan. Our motto for G20 is one family, one earth, and one future. Whatever we want to do, we want to have greater buy-in of each and every segment of the world community. For that reason, we had a conversation with the Global South. 125 countries at the level of head of state and government participated in that, because we want to hear from them as to what India can do for the developing countries, for the Global South, to address their concern. They have major concern as far as debt issue is concerned, food security is concerned, energy security is concerned, fertilizer security is concerned. So we want to address all these and more. We want to highlight all that India has done by way of distributing digital public infrastructure, how we have deployed the digital public infrastructure for the betterment of life of our people and for the contribution for the achievement of sustainable development goals. So there are several areas where we want to focus as far as G20 is concerned.
I appreciate that valuable information, and I would quickly add that some of you might be thinking there are A, B, C areas that we didn't talk about, but I'll go to the saying, where attention goes, energy flows. And I'll also recollect Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, as Prime Minister Modi says. So we want to see a better world, and we also, in our own way, try that energy flows towards development, positivity, as well as a better world with harmony for all of us. And I appreciate the presence of Randhir Jaiswal ji as Consul General of India in New York in uniting, bringing the community members together. And I wish you great Independence Day of India in advance. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Real pleasure to be here.
Thanking him and thanking all of you for being a part of this conversation. This is Ashok. Namaste.